What will happen when a dog mysteriously vanishes, only to be discovered hiding in his old kennel with a surprising secret? This unexpected turn of events leads to an urgent call to the vet by his concerned owner. The story begins with a girl named Scarlett and her 4-year-old German Shepherd, Tommy. Every morning at 7 a.m., Tommy would wait for her, ready for their daily walk. But today was different. The hallway was empty, and Tommy was nowhere to be found. Worried, Scarlett called his name, but there was no answer. She searched the house and eventually headed to the backyard. There, she saw Tommy peeking out from his old kennel. This was odd because Tommy never liked the kennel and always stayed inside with Scarlett. Even stranger, instead of his usual happy greeting, he just watched her with sad, tired eyes. Scarlett knew something was wrong and felt a pang of concern for her beloved dog. Tommy, usually so full of life and kindness, now seemed withdrawn. When he refused to come back inside, Scarlett brought his food and water to him. But every time she got too close, he growled, wanting to be left alone. It seemed like he was hiding something in his crate. Scarlett watched anxiously as he took mouthfuls of kibble, disappeared into the kennel, and then re-emerged, watching her warily. This strange behavior continued, so Scarlett woke her husband, Scott. Seeing how Tommy was acting, Scott agreed something was definitely wrong. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to The Wild Wonder and give that like button a tap. Let's continue the story. The next morning, Scarlett saw that Tommy was still in the kennel, looking tired and scratching at his ears. Worried, Scott called the vet. When the vet arrived and took a closer look, they discovered Tommy was infested with fleas and his inner ear was bleeding. Tommy had both fleas and ear mites, which caused him a lot of pain. The vet prescribed ear drops, topical treatments for his ears, and chewable medication to get rid of the fleas. Relieved to finally know what was wrong, Scott and Scarlett took Tommy home and started the treatment. However, they faced a new problem. To prevent more flea exposure, they kept Tommy out of the backyard. This change made their usually happy dog anxious and restless. They tried to keep him busy with toys and playtime, but Tommy's anxiety only grew. He started clawing at doors, chewing on walls, and refused to eat, drink, or sleep. Watching their beloved dog struggle, Scott and Scarlett knew they had to find a way to help Tommy feel better and adjust to his new routine. That night, just 5 hours after they got home, Scarlett and Scott heard the doggy door creaking. They were puzzled and hurried to see what was happening. Tommy had managed to break through and was making a beeline for his kennel. Scott and Scarlett followed, stepping into the cool night air. As they reached halfway across the yard, Tommy suddenly stopped, fixated on something in the darkness. And then, they spotted them. 2 pairs of shiny eyes disappearing into the kennel. Tommy, feeling protective, charged towards the kennel. Scott raced after him, but it was too late. Tommy vanished into the depths of the kennel. There was a sudden uproar. Growls, barks, and strange sounds filled the night. And then, out of nowhere, 2 raccoons darted out of the kennel, with Tommy hot on their tails. The raccoons dashed over the fence and vanished into the darkness. Gasping for breath, Scott and Scarlett caught up to Tommy, noticing fresh wounds on him. Despite his injuries, Tommy stood firm. They tried to lure him away from the kennel, but he dashed back to it. It was evident that the night's events hadn't lessened his attachment to the kennel. Concerned about the risk of rabies, Scott and Scarlett decided to return to the vet with Tommy. Just as Scott was about to enter the kennel, Tommy emerged with something tiny and fragile in his mouth. A weak, 1-month-old kitten. It dawned on them. Tommy had been guarding this little one all along, showing his protective side in the most unexpected way. They rushed both Tommy and the kitten to the veterinary clinic. Dr. Thompson, surprised by the new twist, performed a thorough examination on both. Tommy received a rabies booster to prevent any potential infection. The kitten, now named Viper, was in critical condition, suffering from severe flea and ear mite infestation. Viper needed to stay at the clinic for proper treatment and nutrition. The following days were filled with tension for Scott and Scarlett. With Tommy separated from the kitten, he grew increasingly anxious and restless. However, Viper slowly began to recover. His fever faded, and he gained weight. Then, the awaited day came when Viper was declared fit to go home. Scarlett made the decision to adopt Viper. When she returned home with him, the reunion was heartwarming. Tommy's behavior had shifted from quirks to a deep bond with the kitten. The once puzzling event became a heartwarming story of kindness and strength. Scott, Scarlett, Tommy, and Viper began a new adventure together, embracing the happiness and hurdles of their growing family. Their home, now filled with love and understanding, showed how unexpected bonds can bring beauty to our lives. That's all for today. Now it's your turn to share your thoughts about this story. What's the next story you'd like to know? Let us know in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe so you won't miss any of these amazing videos on the Wild Wonder.